Okay, here we go. All right. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Melissa White and Toby Portner, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, you guys are co-founders of Hawaii Fashion Month.
We
and
are.
the incubator? Mm-hmm. Wow. So why don't we talk about fashion?
Let's do it.
That was the purpose of this engagement, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
So first of all, fashion, what does it mean to Hawaii? Why do we care about fashion at all here in Hawaii? Nay.
Well, it used to be the third largest industry, for one thing. Behind sugar and pineapple, it was a huge part of our economy before statehood even. And who doesn't love fashion, really? I mean, that's kind of a rhetorical question, but...
Sorry, I just need to get grounded on this.
Any quick answers to that one?
Well, I would say you covered that pretty well. There's a legacy here, and there are a lot of people who want to work in the industry, and they also want to stay home or come home. So it's and there's room for another industry too. So that's where we are driven.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I want to pursue that just for a moment. So the idea is an industry. It's not just fashion for aesthetic purposes or personal couture. It's fashion for the state, for the community,
It is.
for jobs, for earning revenue, just like it was in the 50s and 60s and maybe part of the 70s when there were people sewing and companies selling all kinds of local clothing.
That's right.
Yeah, that was really the reason why we started Hawaii Fashion Incubator. We call it Hi-Fi, and it's been around for almost 10 years. And, as much as people see us at fashion shows and producing fun events, it's all for an underlying purpose of growing the industry. So we are there to kind of help build up the infrastructure so that people can then do better and better fashion shows and in between sell their work both within Hawaii and beyond. So,
Okay.
That's
So
our
have
dirty
you had
little
traction
secret.
yet? I mean, you've been doing it 10 years anyway with the fashion incubator. Have you had traction? Is there a budding industry in our midst?
Sure.
Yeah, there have been a lot of changes. I think I just had an interesting conversation about this yesterday, that social media has played a role in that too, because
Is that accidental, or you intended it to be that way?
I think, I don't want to take credit for that. But I think that there were a lot of companies making fashion companies before we came around. And that's one of the things that drove us to this. We saw that there were a lot of things happening in pockets, and we wondered how a structured support, a common support, would benefit the industry and its growth. And so somebody asked me, are there a lot more companies now than there were when you started? And I said, well, we know a lot more about the companies that are out there because people are advertising more, they're sharing what they do, they're selling on Instagram and so forth. And so we know more about who's doing what.
Okay.
And when we started, there was really kind of a top-heavy situation where we had a few of the really established old-school brands still going. They're still around. And then we also had a crop of emerging designers at a very small level. Since then, we've now got a lot more people that have been in the middle or near the top of that have achieved national or international recognition. And so the industry is maturing. I would still characterize it as emerging, but there's been so much traction both between the businesses and a renewed interest at the state level and even at the national level in manufacturing that there really is a huge momentum now. And HTDC, the High Technology Development Corporation of the state, just got a grant to promote manufacturing in Hawaii, a $2 million grant from the Federal Economic Development Administration. And that's just one of the things that's going on. They're really being proactive and helping see what's possible and revitalizing the local industry.
So what happens to the $2 million? I mean, vis-a-vis fashion.
It's available for grants to businesses. It's a competitive grant process, and each business can get up to $100,000, I believe. And well, in addition to that, there's other state incentives such as the enterprise zones, and overall, it helps offset some of the things that make Hawaii difficult, like the cost of energy and labor and things like that.
And a few
yeah.
other things.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sort of getting in on the definition now of fashion. Fashion is more than just design.
Correct.
Fashion is manufacturing, and manufacturing ideally is here also. So
Right.
the industry is like integrated between, I guess that's vertical, between design, manufacturing, sales, because we have a ready tourist market who, has always loved Hawaiian clothing, always. And in fact, it helped shape some of the designs that are popular. It starts with design, though. I sense that you care more about design, because what's the point of manufacturing if you don't have a design?
You need good ideas for sure.
Yeah.
But that's only a lot of artists think that there's the idea and that you can then run with that and make something successful. But what we try to do is, well, we meet everyone wherever they're at, whether it's an idea or whether they've taken it to some level. But we try to go through the whole fashion cycle. I guess your description of being vertical is probably more accurate, but we kind of think of it as a cycle where you need not only the idea, but you need the marketing, you need the audience, you need the packaging and the
you want it all.
promotions.
We want
and a
to
system.
promote all these parts.
Yeah.
That's right, and a system for production, because sometimes people have all the pieces in place, and then they may get a large order, and if they don't have a strong system where they can fulfill that order, then all those other pieces are irrelevant in many
Yeah.
ways, right?
Fulfillment is
Fulfillment,
more than
exactly.
just a factory. It's the ability to call on other factories
Right.
or expand your factory to meet whatever the demand is. Yeah.
And then to continue, right? There's this life after the wedding kind of thing. You have an idea and you take it through production, and then you have to keep going. You continue with the ideas and the inspiration and keep it moving. So there are a lot of pieces, and Hi-Fi's role really is to listen carefully to the members that come to us, meeting them where they are at, as Melissa said, and then helping them find the resources that they need to keep going.
Well, before we go to our first break, I just want to ask you guys what it's like. We know now what design is, or it could be, and we know why you think fashion is important for Hawaii. But what I'm missing on this is exactly what is the experience you have had. I mean, where do you start? What foot do you put out first, in creating a fashion incubator? How do you do that?
It's curiosity, really, for me anyway. I think Melissa and I were introduced to each other, and we had similar interests, and we met and started talking about what's possible, and then we became really curious about what would happen, and we've been following that curiosity for 10 years, and sometimes we are ready to move off to the side, and and then something else happens that's exciting, and our curiosity comes back, and so we keep going, and that's really what pushes us forward. Example. Well, Hawaii Fashion Month, and that was the thing that prompted you to invite us here today, right? So a few years ago, it was proposed that we try to create this Fashion Month, put a month of fashion events on the calendar so that there are a lot of platforms for people to show and sell their work. And at first, we were not sure that was something that we wanted to undertake. And then, but we did, and we wanted to see what would happen with that. And we've been growing that for the last 3 years. So that's one example.
Okay.
Others?
Well, the renewed interest in manufacturing has been a great opportunity, and we took a discovery trip to LA this year with the help of sponsorship from Hawaiian Airlines.
Oh, very nice.
And we made some wonderful connections there, and we're actually going to bring some of them here during Hawaii Fashion Month, because we feel that at this stage in the industry, we need as much cross-pollination with the greater fashion community as possible. And we're just finding unbelievable people from outside Hawaii that have ties here and are willing to come back and share their expertise. So we can talk about that particular event we have planned at some point in time.
Okay, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
I'll have to add one point, then we will go to a break, and that is it occurred to me in our earlier discussions, Melissa, that fashion is global now. That you can draw on ideas from anywhere, and people do, and you can have a fashion center emerge anywhere. I mean, there are fashion centers like everywhere. Some of them big, some of them little, but there's no reason in the world why Hawaii can't be a fashion center. I like that. Okay, we're gonna take a break now.
Okay.
After that profound statement. We're gonna come.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on Think Tech Hawaii. Center Stage airs every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and of course you can check out our archives on YouTube or on Think Tech Hawaii anytime you like. Why should you do that? Because this is an arts show that I believe is making a difference in lives. We talk with artists of various ilk. We talk with painters and writers, playwrights, novelists, poets, sculptors, dancers, you name it, directors, actors, of course. And we don't only talk about what people do, but we talk about how they do it. And my favorite part of the conversation, we talk about why they do it. And it's really common on this show to hear people say, wow, I didn't think about it that way. And it's very common to hear people afterwards who have seen the show say the same thing. And I hear all the time that people are inspired by the conversations that we have. So why don't you join us and be inspired too? That's Center Stage on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. We'll see you Center Stage.
Logo. HFM, Hawaii Fashion Month, with Melissa White and Toby Portner, co-founders of Hawaii Fashion Month, but also of the Hawaii Fashion Incubator. And said, curiosity, and I surmise that curiosity is your curiosity. But then, Melissa, in the break, you said, don't forget community. And community is external. Now, community is the people out there, and they have to be engaged, committed, interested, willing to participate, yeah?
That's right, yeah. When we started Hi-Fi, it was equally as much about curiosity as it was about community, because as Toby said, there are so many people operating in isolation, and our question was, are there other people out there that want to share stories, swap resources, work together to make some of these obstacles more surmountable, and to have a central place to go for information and resources. So, we just started by having conversations with a lot of people out in the community and building it up slowly over time.
The community are designers.
Well, not just designers.
It's not people who necessarily want to buy fashion, it's the people who want to create fashion, yeah?
Yeah, our network has always included fashion professionals across the spectrum. So not only designers, but the people that they need, like photographers, makeup artists,
Sure.
Models,
industry,
students,
so to speak.
educators. So we've always been very broad in that way. And then we also invite enthusiasts, because without them, we don't have a market. And a lot of them provide excellent volunteer resources. So somebody who likes fashion and wants to support local.
Okay, so likes fashion.
Yeah.
Incorporated in that, or inherent in that, is they want to buy fashion, spend
Right.
money on fashion, and they're willing to spend the premium for fashion, right? Fashion always requires a premium over J.C. Penney. I'm sorry I said that. Over Woolworths. I'm sorry I said that too. No, but the premium is that it's not just ordinary clothing. It's clothing that has been designed. And so the design calls for a premium, and then the people are willing, committed enough to pay that premium. But then there's more that you described. It's interest. It's they would go, for example, to a fashion month. They would sit and watch the fashion. They would get off their duff and come down and participate in an event around fashion.
Right.
Those are the ones you're
Right.
talking about. Yeah.
And so, we've always driven our initiatives by what the community said they wanted. And we've done that through asking them, through surveys, through having forums and conversations, much like you do at Think Tech. And ultimately by creating a membership program so that it's a lot easier for those that are interested in being part of a community to find what they need, to reach each other, and for our partners and sponsors that are always asking us what's happening in fashion to go to one place and see what's happening. So we have this membership program, the Hawaii Fashion Exchange, which is kind of on the same level as Hawaii Fashion Month. It's another initiative and another resource that people can use, and they feed directly into each other.
Sure,
So-
because you need, in order to do Fashion Month, you need the kind of design that comes out of the fashion incubator.
Right.
So can you give me, I like examples.
That's good.
An example of how they would help each other, do you have another needle? What? Can you lend me some thread? What is it? What do they have?
Well, people come together. So a good example is a photographer who will work with a designer to shoot the clothing. or a
Does he
model.
do this on spec, or does he get paid?
Well, our goal really is to make it that everybody gets paid in the industry. We work hard to promote that, and yet at the same time, there's a range, I would say. Some people are willing and able to pay, and they do, and some people demand to be paid, and so they won't take a job that doesn't. And we respect that everybody comes from the place that's comfortable for them, and we encourage that.
And there
So
are some that'll do it free,
there are some that will do it.
because they want to be involved. They want to learn how to do it, right?
There's
Isn't
a
that the
little
way
of both.
photographers
Yeah.
often work?
Right.
You know,
But
just
it's
make
a-
me a fashion photographer, then I'm going to charge you for my work.
Right, but when we take a step back and think about the whole industry and building that, we know that an industry is not going to really grow if people are not getting paid to do
True
what they
fact.
do.
It
Because
can't
they're
be.
going to work another job, and then they can't really be a professional or do that full-time or devote the kind of energy that it takes to do it well. So, again, we meet people where they are. So some people, we have a large bank of volunteers. Many of those are enthusiasts, and others are professionals or have a professional interest or a previous profession in the industry that they'll lend as a volunteer to some of the things. And so when somebody comes and they need something and they're not able to pay for it, we'll direct them to a volunteer.
So, you know, we just had a program at lunch, you guys knew about that, about the arts. And it occurs to me that fashion is an art.
It occurs
Is
to you
there-
for the first time?
It's kind
Sometimes
of
I'm slow.
it's on the bridge between art and industry because it's
Yeah.
part of the creative industries and it's an art and we like to celebrate it in all its forms.
Okay, so now we have the people getting together, and we have the fashion incubator. I remember a walk around HTDC. I'm not sure that you were there, but this was with Robbie Melton a couple of years ago, and there were 3 or 4 young women who were running this fashion company there.
Yeah.
And,
Cut Collective.
Yes, and they had a huge big table and a lot of scissors and design things, and it was very impressive. I was really, are they still in business?
They are.
Absolutely.
And
They're doing well?
I think so. They're a valuable resource for the right customer. There are people who need support directly at that design process, and they're able to come in and with their varied expertise help someone take it specifically from idea to product.
Yeah, we need resources all along the spectrum. So, for example, our space, the Coop, kind of can be a place where businesses can operate when they're ready for a space. Their space takes particular designers that are ready to start production and incubates them through that process of sampling and manufacturing. And so we need those resources all along the production cycle to help people.
The Coop is the place I
and-
saw in Victoria Ward.
Yes, and so, the fact that we're getting other people filling in those gaps is a sign of success for the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because when we started, there was no organization dedicated to bringing Hawaii fashion together. There was no association. There used to be a large organization.
This is back
but-
when, though. This is in the
Yes.
days of the Moo.
Although
Well, up to the 80s anyway.
actually, no, it closed in like 2000.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Why did it close?
The industry really evolved, and most of the manufacturers got left, and manufacturing was the backbone of the industry here. And by the time we were in the mid '90s, most of them had gone, and then it continued to decline further. But we're only just now at a turnaround point. So. It needed to reshift its focus from manufacturing to something that would support an emerging industry again, and that's where we stepped in, kind of.
Totally
not-
optimistic. That's great
Right.
to have that. Another industry, we need all the industries we can get. And if it happens to be associated with tourism, that makes it all the better. But let me ask you about Tory Richard. Now there's a company through the effort of Mort Feldman and all his minions back when in the 50s and 60s, created shirts that are laden all over the tourist industry, and that cost plenty of money. Okay, and they're still going strong after all these years. They never, they stayed in business all this time.
That's right.
But where do you put that, in this curve you've been describing?
on the end where of the established longtime companies, they're up there with Jam's World and Ren Spooner,
Iolani.
Iolani.
Manuhea
Many of
Li'i.
those guys still have factories here. Manuhea Li'i is a newer one, but it's kind of approaching that level where it could become a global brand. I'm wearing their shirt today. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Just zoom in on the shirt. There we go.
But
But
yeah.
you're not talking about that. Those are the guys who stayed in business the whole time, somehow touched the tourist market, somehow got their brand outside of these islands, and became household words around the world, really.
Yeah, and many of them are really valuable partners and collaborators for us.
For you,
They
how
can
do you
see-
collaborate with them?
For example, Jams and Surfline, their CEO has been on our advisory board, and they've donated fabric to help certain designers with our projects. They've always given us word when they're selling or giving away factoring equipment.
So they want to see you
fixtures.
succeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't see you as competition.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. And Ren Spooner as well, we're at the table in the Chamber of Commerce's Manufacturing in Hawaii initiative, and people that come to that table include Jam's World and Surfline and Ren Spooner and Cut Collective and us, as well as, people across manufacturing and government. And we all talk about how can we bring this back,
I want to go back to the place in HTDC for a minute. You said, Toby, that or maybe it was you, that you said that they work for customers. Okay, who's the customer? Is the customer Ross? Is the customer a shop?
The customer's a designer. So I'm a designer, I have a great idea, I need help executing, taking it from concept to sales floor. And I go to them for specific consulting and hands-on support in the steps where I need help.
So, okay, so I'm working in that, I forget the name of the company up there in HTDC. Cut. And so my client is going to be what, another designer? And I'm helping, sort of contributing to the design made by someone else. Or I'm contributing a cut, may I say cut? A cut of a shirt or a dress or what have you. To the, so I'm a subcontractor is what I am. Is that what it is?
I don't know if that's an accurate description or not, but what I can say is that all of the people that operate there are designers themselves.
Yeah, I remember that.
They help other designers because, at that stage, when you're trying to build up production, sometimes it helps to join forces with other people who are at the same level, to meet factory minimums and to leverage your relationship with the factory. If you can bring 3 other designers with you, I can see that being one of those rising tide effects, where instead of trying to just beat your own path and outcompete everyone else, you help some other people along, and then you become a bigger piece of the puzzle.
This is, it takes me back to the days of Mort Feldman. He wasn't the only one. He brought a lot of people in from the garment business in New York, okay? And they were always making deals with each other. They were coming and going from one company to another. It was really a community of fashion and manufacturing. And I guess what I hear you saying is that the garment business, or they used to say the rag business, it's an old word, the rag business hasn't really changed. That you need to touch the people in your industry all day long. You have to stay friendly with them, you have to make deals with them, you have to help them, ask them to help you. It's a very tight community, that's what I get out of this.
Absolutely.
And that's actually one of the things that's interesting to me because, of course, as humans, there's this natural tendency to be reluctant to share, especially maybe on an island where there's this feeling of competition, and it takes work and sort of commitment to operate in a way where you can collaborate with your competitors.
Yeah.
And we see that, examples of that all the time, where people maybe are reluctant, but then they come to the table later, or, and so we try to encourage everybody who comes in to look for mutual benefit, right? Where does one company or individual have something that you need? And then what do you have that they need? And how can we work together that way? And then You build a community that
You're setting a
supports one another.
standard. You're
Right.
setting a course of conduct for them all. And in doing that, you're enabling them to come together and work together, because that's the only way it can happen, especially with a emerging industry, as you said. And I wonder, when we talk about design, I'm not sure we finished defining it. Is the design the physical design of the garment? Or does design include, for example, the fabric? I want to talk to you about fabric. Do we have people here in Hawaii who are designing fabric?
Sure, we have people who are designing fabric prints and who make, couture fabrics. There's not many people who actually produce fabric here. Most of them.
It takes a lot of heavy machinery.
Yeah, unless it's a very, one-of-a-kind situation. But yeah, we do.
Yeah. So if I design a really nice print fabric these days, as hard as I try to find somebody who might actually manufacture that for me, I got to go offshore.
Oh, there's a couple places that will do it on a small scale here still that have been
But
around for ages.
assuming that I can't
yeah.
afford that, where do I go? Asia?
I think there's mainland companies
Mainland.
that, yeah, sure.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just dipping our toe into that world, and what kind of manufacturing capability is available there. And we've actually had owners of a Los Angeles factory come to visit Hawaii to see whether this is a place that they could move their factory
Whoa,
to.
that would be a big deal.
Yeah, it would. And so we kind of helped them on an exploratory visit, and we're looking at, what are the pros and cons between LA and Hawaii. And it's actually not as different as you might think. There's different issues, but
Labor is always an issue.
yeah, skilled labor in particular in Hawaii,
Yeah,
workforce training.
And that's
so.
another one of our interests. You asked before for examples of what makes us curious, and I'm really interested in this sort of the parallel track of job skills training people, and then creating jobs at the same time for them. So they enter into a training program, they're skilled, and then they're able to move directly into a job. So whether there's room for that now, or we can put all those pieces together at the right time and make that happen, remains to be seen. But we're there pushing it along and talking with people who come to the table who have an interest in being a part of that.
Suppose I come to you and tell you I want a job, and I think, I'd like to learn about, say, fabric printing. I don't know if that's the right term, but, and in the hopes that the guy from LA will come here, open a factory, and I'll be able to command a big salary because I'm the only one who knows how to do it. So query, can I learn that here, or do I have to go to LA to learn that? Can you teach me? Are you teaching me? Do you have classes? Do you know somebody who is teaching?
Surface design, or the actual
Oh.
printing
Oh, good.
of that.
Good.
That is not something that we teach.
No, but you encourage the teaching.
We're connectors, if you ever read
Got
The
it.
Tipping
This is
Point.
really,
So,
if you want to know
Yeah.
the porte-parole of the show, the message that we get is these guys are connectors, and they're selfless. Am I right? You're doing it for love, aren't you?
well, yeah, that's for sure.
For sure we get paid in love, that is for sure.
That's
Yeah,
nice to be a
so-
connector. That's really good. That's community-oriented, Mahayana, which means working for the common good.
Well, and it's been the best part about it is the relationships, and we've built up this rich community and this pool of resources that are available not only for us, but for our members, and we can be conduits for that. And we're always trying to improve those conduits so that it doesn't have to go through one of us, and it's just something where people can connect directly. So that's why we overhauled our membership program and built a beautiful website and got a grant to do that, is just to make it more self-serve and more democratic and more powerful. So.
Hawaii Fashion, what's the website?
The website is Hawaii Fashion Exchange.
Okay.
So
Dot
we
com?
have .com. Yeah. So that's our membership, and it has a directory of Hawaii fashion, and we've been building it up for about a year, and working on getting a full directory of designers, event producers, photographers, makeup artists, models, and we encourage anyone who's in the industry to look into it.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to give you 1 minute to look into it. And then we're going to come back.
Aloha, my name is Justine Espiritu, and I co-host Hawaii Farmers Series with Matthew Johnson of Oahu Fresh. we talk about Hawaii's local farmers and their supporters. In order to have a vibrant and sustainable local food system, farmers are always the foundation, but there's so many other people involved in the community that help support those farmers. So we bring those folks onto our show every Thursday at 4 p.m. We get their backstory, their history, find out a little more about them, and we find out why they love what they do and their perspective and their advice on how we can continue to have a dynamic and vibrant and sustainable local food system. So we broadcast live every Thursday at 4 p.m. And you can also catch us on ThinkTech's YouTube channel as well as Alelo 54. So we hope
For
you
nothing.
tune
Here
in
we go.
and join us. Thank you.
Whoops, there we go. Oh, what a nice picture. Oh,
Oh, that's
okay. Oh, wow. You know, fashion makes women look really good.
And men, and men.
Okay, and men, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, in the program we just had at lunch, they told me I could take ballet class, you know, because we're talking about the arts. I declined. Sorry. It wouldn't have been a pretty picture. Anyway, so you were talking during the break, Toby, about, you know, taking this facilitation thing a little further. When you see a need, you act. What do you do? Example.
Well, so we Hi-Fi, we think of ourselves as an incubator. We carry an incubation mindset wherever we go, and that's what we look at the industry as it's evolving, and where there are pockets of need or some traction happening or some kind of an initiative that needs some support, we'll bring our resources to the table there and work there until there's some sort of a system or a structure that can sustain itself, and then we can move on to the next element. So our end game has not been yet, anyway, to develop some sort of initiative and then stay there forever. And that's kind of what Melissa was referring to with HFX, our membership program. Instead of taking calls all the time and doing all the matchmaking individually, we realized after a couple of years that what we needed was a system that would do that on its own, where everybody could go and profile themselves and reach out to each other, share opportunities, and we could back away each year.
Smart. You want to make this a long-term model, you have to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's not expensive to run, and that doesn't require two people full-time making sure that all the pieces are in place,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Hawaii Fashion Month has really followed the same model also.
But so the Fashion Incubator and Fashion Month,
Okay.
which one is the parent and which one is the child?
Well, there was a great logo tree up on the screen a minute ago, and it kind of
We
showed.
can look
yeah,
at it again. Logo tree, please.
Logo tree.
There we
So,
go.
This is how we explain it, because we know it gets kind of logo soupy. Hi-Fi is the parent. We are the greater incubator, and we have initiatives that respond to needs that the community has expressed. So Hawaii Fashion Exchange is our membership program to build community and provide resources. We do professional development through it, and we let members connect directly with each other and what they need. We also consult with members through that. Hawaii Fashion Month is the platform every November. It's a calendar of events that is supposed to showcase Hawaii's fashion talent statewide. So we open it up, we bring in media sponsors, and we promote what's happening across the state all month in fashion. And we have had really tremendous support from both state and city and private sponsors on that event, and it's become a really excellent platform for designers to show what they do.
Last time I looked, you had the whole state administration helping you, right up to the governor.
Right.
I don't know how you do that, but you did it.
I don't know how we did it either, but
Like
we're grateful.
something.
Well, you know, everyone likes fashion.
I guess so.
Yeah, then the other two on there were the Coop is our space in Word Warehouse, and that's where we incubate businesses and we let people use it for event space.
Yeah.
And Outfit was we've called that, used that name for pop-up events that we've done since we've been around. So we do pop-ups that show designers, and one year we did a large marketplace. So that's kind of a more selling platform. Yeah.
Okay, and those were all the ones on that chart you showed?
That's right.
Okay, but I have a question about Outfit. You know, when I first saw that term, I thought, Outfit, what a great name for a store.
Right.
You know? And why don't these guys buy the best in their community, the stuff that's generated by your community, and sell it under an Outfit label? Hawaii outfit, say, for example. And it's the best we can do. This is local stuff, just coming up, just emerging. Why don't you do that? Are you doing it already?
We've tried retail. It was not pretty.
Oh,
You're doing ballet.
like a hole in the water into which you pour money.
So, that's not really our fit in the industry, and we do love to provide platforms where designers can show and sell. But what we found is that working with people who do that for a living is the best way to do that. So last year we partnered with Art and Flea to do Outfit, and they do a marketplace event every month, and they adapt it and morph it, and so people like that, they've got it dialed in, and they can be a great platform for our members.
Yeah, well, from taking it from the land of the rag business, it's a hard sell. You really have to know the market minute to minute about what people want. People are fickle,
That's right. But just like I was saying before, we look at it from an incubation mindset. And so having marketplaces that are engaging and interesting and dynamic are part of the equation. And also engaging the local stores that are already places where customers go to find things, and making sure that they're aware of the local goods that are available and find the right fit for their store. So we want there to be marketplaces. And the first year of HFM, Hawaii Fashion Month, we took on a big role in producing a lot of the events, including that marketplace. Not with the goal necessarily of continuing to produce the marketplace ourselves, but of encouraging those kinds of platforms to evolve. And so,
here we got to do the Twitter.
there
Wait
we
a minute
go.
now, let's see, we got two of them. One is Sachiko. Are Hawaii merchants and venues doing well in opening space for local designers to sell and showcase their work? Hawaii merchants and venues opening spaces for local designers. Be brutally honest on this, ladies.
I would say yes. We've seen a lot more local product available in shops. Shops that sell only local things, and also shops that sell a range of things. Would you agree?
Yeah. And there's a surprising number of local tenants in major shopping centers, such as Royal Hawaiian Center and Ward Village. Both of them have a really high percentage of locally owned tenants, and they pride themselves on that. There's a feeling of people want authentic made in Hawaii products, and it's more than just something good to do. It's a trend and has value in and of itself. So. Yeah.
Okay,
so.
want to see that.
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
it wouldn't
come to-
hurt if you had an HFM or incubator, fashion incubator label on the garment, eh?
Right.
There you go.
We had another Twitter. Can I see the other Twitter now? That was the only one, okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, before we run out of time, tell me about Hawaii Fashion Month. When is it? I guess it's a month? I guess
is.
right on that, it's 1 month?
It is.
And what do you do?
So one thing I just want to clarify, since you asked the question, thank you, is that Hawaii Fashion Month is not an event. It's a calendar of events. And so our job, as we see it, is to create this calendar and make it easier for people to host a high-quality event during the month. And then we work to promote that. So all those things are on the calendar, and there's collective attention then on the industry. And so that starts November 1st.
Oh, that's right around the
And
corner.
that's
That's
right.
this weekend.
It is this weekend. That woke me up very early this morning.
I'm sorry. You should be thinking about it 24/7 anyway.
Really, yeah. Well, anyway, so it starts on Sunday. We kick off on Sunday at the Modern Honolulu. They have a monthly event, actually, this Grey Goose Day Club. And so we work with them. They're a partner over the last 3 years as a venue. And so we kick off with that. And then there's a month of events across the calendar. We actually have a calendar on hawaiifashionmonth.com.
Okay, so if I go there to that site, I will find all the
All the
events you
events
have.
that are on the
Suppose I want to add an event, suppose I want to suggest an event for you. Suppose I'm a designer that has an idea, I want to get on you, how do I do that?
There is a button to submit your event right on the calendar page. However, given that we're less than a week out, you better have all your details in order if you want us to be able to consider it, because we have an excellent calendar. As you can see up here, it's already pretty packed. We have events at Royal Hawaiian Center and Ala Moana Center, and of course there's Honolulu Magazine's event, Honolulu Fashion Week at the Convention Center. So, we've got a really full calendar, and we are really going to focus on promoting it and encouraging people to come out during November to see local fashion. And another event that I wanted to highlight is our panel event, where we're going to bring out guests from LA on November 6th to talk about the business of Hawaii fashion. So, and talk about manufacturing and design and what it takes as a Hawaii designer to get your line out there beyond Hawaii, get it produced, and get it on the sales floor.
You guys aren't afraid of work. You are been working for 10 years to make these things happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're actually building an industry, getting traction, putting a brand on us that we really need to have, used to have, want to have in the future.
And one thing I think it's important to remember is that we're there pushing it along and bringing people to the table, and it's Hi-Fi is the one that does that, as Melissa said, the connector, and it requires everybody who's a stakeholder to play, because we in order to be a vibrant industry that continues to grow, everybody has to jump in and work together.
Okay, we got a picture over there. See, there's a bunch of kids drinking in a bar.
Yeah.
And that's under camera 2. Melissa, close the show by talking to them. Tell them why they should get into the industry, and immediately call Toby.
Call me. Call Melissa.
Well, fashion is fun. There's a great community of people here. There's a strong legacy. There's so much potential. And, we're here to support you. So give us a call, hawaiifashion.org, and we'd love to hear about what you're doing and your ideas.
Be creative, Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's our destiny to be creative in every way. Thank you so much, Melissa, Toby. Great discussion with
Yeah.
you. Good
Thanks
luck
so
on
much.
Fashion Month.
Thanks. Come out.
Okay, I will.
Okay, good.
Aloha.
Aloha.